What is it actually like to sleep in VR? To answer that question, there was only one thing to do. Sleep in VR. The most common place that people sleep in VR is VR chat, so we'll go with that game, of course. Next up, we're gonna need a world to rest in, so let's get one of them too. Life needs sleep. Let's see. Sleep Niku Avatar. What the hell? Sleep escape. Plan B for sleep. Simple sleep room. Sleep house. Where we sleep. Oh, this one's perfect. Finally, I just need to hook up my Quest 2 to a charger so it charges while I sleep and it never disconnects. I also had to keep the bedroom light on, of course, so all of that being done, I could close my eyes and sleep, which immediately proved to be difficult. Look, I love my Kiwi head strap. It makes it extremely comfortable to play and is millions of times better than the stock strap that the Quest 2 comes with. But that is only if you use the headset the way it is meant to be used, standing up or sitting down, those kinds of things, right? In order for me to sleep, I have to actually be laying down. This causes issues with the head strap because there is no comfortable position to lay in without the hard plastic digging into me. However uncomfortable this was, I did eventually fall asleep. One of the thoughts I had before even trying this was how it may affect my dreams, and I didn't know if it did. I never did find out if it did, but I did dream about VR chat that night. The first dream I had was of me waking up in the world I went to sleep in, only to find a random person cuddling with me. As I woke up in the dream, the person cuddling me freaked out and jumped away, not expecting me to be an actual player and instead an NPC or some kind of prop or something like that. Then I woke up for real life, and obviously there was no person there because I set the world instance to invite only. Waking up this first time was weird because I immediately was met with this brightness, whereas it's normally pretty dark. The brightness actually proved to be an issue all night long, not even just after that, like after waking up. It was actually bothering me before I went to sleep. You know, it's kind of, the best way to describe it is like this. You close your eyes and you can still see kind of when someone shines a light towards you or you pass by a light, right? I think we can all agree that that's kind of a thing, right? You can still feel that light. You can still kind of see it through your eyelids. It's almost exactly like that, except all night long because the light is directly on your face. It's directly attached to your eyes, more or less. It was probably even worsened by myself because the avatar I had large white wings for arms, and so it often made them stretch out and act weird and stuff like that because of tracking issues. So I was constantly being shoved this white thing in my face all the time, and of course that is a lot brighter than just any other color. This is all happening even though the place I slept in was blue and dark. It is still a game after all, and it gives off light through the lenses, so my eyes winced, and I just closed my eyes right away to avoid the light, so I didn't really get to experience much of what it was really like to wake up in the world. Then I realized how badly my neck was hurting, and I tried to move myself around without falling off the bed, or making it worse, or making the charger cord fall out, or some wacky thing like that. Eventually, I fell asleep again, had a brief dream that was also really quick, then I woke up again, now hurting in a different spot. Then I fell asleep again and had another brief dream involving Spider-Man this time before waking up again. At this point, I just wanted the night to be over, but there was no clock or way to tell the time in this place, so I just chose to sleep. A horrible oversight, honestly. So I just closed my eyes again and tried to sleep. I don't actually know how much time passed after that, but I decided to check my phone while keeping the headset on to see the time. As it turned out, it was exactly 9 a.m., so I said fuck this and took off the headset after looking around for a couple of minutes in that VR chat world. VR chat was attempting to disconnect me for some reason, so I couldn't really walk around anyway, so I mean, I may as well just kind of look around and kind of try and gauge what that might feel like waking up in this world and stuff like that. I didn't actually feel anything special waking up in the headset that morning, and it was probably because I had woken up like 4 times previously that same night. I mostly just felt tired and annoyed, and I hurt a little bit too. So I took off the headset, put it away, then laid right back in bed without it on at all. I fell asleep so fast, I honestly probably fell asleep faster than I ever have in my life, and got another hour of sleep, and that I finally decided was enough sleep, and I got up for my day. So I suppose my takeaway after doing this for the first time is that there is definitely something I did wrong. right? I mean, there are people that sleep often in VR chat. It's common enough that it's considered a VR chat trope, if you will. So how are they doing it and why? The first answer I assumed had to be one of two things. They may have just had better head straps, or they just sleep sitting up so that the headset doesn't bother them as much. I'll try to confirm this later in the video by asking people their experiences and stuff like that sleeping in VR chat. The why of this all really seemed obvious to me in the middle of the night, but after experiencing this all, I'm not really sure. So the theory that I had as I was falling asleep in VR chat was that people love the feeling of waking up in a place better than where they actually are or were. Now, this extends beyond just their bedroom. It also involves themselves. Waking up in a body that you prefer, because VR chat allows you to be anything or anyone. It might stand to reason that one appeal for sleeping in VR is the experience of being in that body for longer and enjoying what it's like to wake up in that body. I thought about it sometime randomly because that feeling came to mind. That feeling of what it might be like to wake up in a better body. Maybe not even physically, but just visually, would still be amazing in of itself. I thought about what it would be like to wake up with the perfect hair, a belly that's thin. As I thought about what that would feel like, it made me wonder if this is not one of the key reasons people do this in VR. Or is it just people too obsessed with VR? I wanted to find out more about this practice and maybe even find a way to make it work better for me, so I set out to find random people that sleep in VR and just ask them. Before we get into that, my issues with sleeping in VR for me specifically are as follows. Number one, it is way too uncomfortable. That is because of the head strap and all these other things like that. Number two, I'm just gonna throw this in there, it's kind of part of the uncomfortable bit, but it kind of hurts my eyes sometimes. Like, it actually makes my eyes itch sometimes because of the bright lights and stuff like that. Number three, my hands or arms kept moving on their own and flashing me because they would sometimes move across my face, and of course your face in VR is your eyeballs, so it just seemed to flash me in real life. Now, number four, sorry, it's brighter than it actually seems. It's brighter than it actually is. Is there a way to dim the headset, make everything a little bit darker in the headset, and I missed that or something? I don't know, but it is definitely brighter in the game, and I need to get used to that as well. And finally, number five, how do I stop myself from getting disconnected randomly? Because again, when I woke up that morning, I had this message on my screen saying I was being disconnected. I needed to either retry or just quit the app, and so I just kind of looked around the world and then just quit the app. So before I ever even considered doing this again, I need a fix for all these things. And here we are on the VR chat Reddit, where I decided to ask people specifically, does anyone sleep in VR? If you do, let me know about your experiences doing so and why you did or still do. This one here was the very first one. It says, I do. It is kind of hard to explain, but it sort of feels like I'm cuddling someone, and it's a nice feeling, even though I don't have phantom sense. Makes me feel like I'm wanted, I guess? Being cute is fun, I guess, as well, since I can't really do that in real life. For me, it's also the 3 times better cuddling when you both have full body, which I do. So that's a very interesting thing for me, because this person has full body, so if I had full body, maybe I would have a better experience sleeping in VR chat or any game that supports full body VR. Another interesting thing about this is that they get this totally different feeling, like this feeling of cuddliness. I don't know if they're actually cuddling someone in the game when they do this. Maybe I should have asked them and got more specifics on it or whatever else like that. But that's what they said. They said they get this cuddly feeling, like they're cuddling someone, which is interesting. This one here said that they don't specifically, but a friend of theirs does. They said that they have sleep apnea and VR helps a little, but not a lot. So this is another very interesting look as to why people might do it. They said also, I believe that they said something to do with small amounts of blue light, although he can still only get a few hours a day if he sleeps, if he can at all. So yeah, this person has trouble sleeping, and apparently VR chat somehow helps them in some regard. I don't know how much it helps them or what it does specifically for them, but it is interesting to see that it does help them, even if it is just a little bit. So that, of course, is another reason why people are sleeping in VR, because it might just be better of an experience for them. One person said that sleep is important, so I wouldn't try to mess with it in the long run. I totally agree with this, but at the same time, this is an experience that I feel like I had to have, if that makes sense. One person just said only when shit-faced. I thought that was hilarious. Here's another person. I've fallen asleep while playing VR chat a number of times and had some interesting experiences, but don't understand the logic of doing it intentionally. Sure, get sleepy while with friends and then take off your headset before you go to bed, but there is nothing positive about sleeping with a brick strapped to your face. Now, if VR headsets were goggle-sized, super light, not warm, and could toggle the screen on and off with your eyes, that could be all right. I 100% agree with this. I never understood the logic of doing this intentionally, of intentionally sleeping in VR, any game specifically. It doesn't necessarily be VR chat. I've always thought it was weird that people do it, but I wanted to know why, and I wanted to experience it for myself. Maybe by experiencing it myself, I could understand and uncover the reason why and stuff like that. Now, they've said they've done it before, probably just like, they said they did it while playing, so obviously this was unintentional when they did it, but they said they had some interesting experiences out of it, and that to me is one of the main reasons why I could consider doing it again, is for that interesting experience. One last comment here. They said, I almost fell asleep, but I never closed my eyes fully. Having a bulky headset like the Index on my head feels quite uncomfortable, especially since I am a side sleeper. I am too scared to break the Index ear cups. This was an experience that I had as well. I kind of forgot to mention that earlier, but that was another thing that I experienced when doing this, when I was doing the headset and everything like that. When I had it on me, I rolled over on my side because it was hurting the back of my head way too much. And so I rolled over on my side, and I kept getting worried that I was going to break the head strap or something because I had so much weight on that one little part of the head strap, and you're not meant to do that. So I kept worrying that it was going to break, and that also made it a lot harder to sleep and stuff like that. But with all of this said, I think my final conclusions for why people do this and all that other jazz is probably because of many different reasons. There is no singular reason as to why people go to sleep in VR chat or any VR game for that matter. There is, for the most part, it seems, no real benefit for doing it other than like maybe if you have sleep apnea, maybe it'll help you. But for the most part, it seems like there's so many reasons not to do it that you should never even consider it unless you do have sleep apnea or some condition, because apparently there are people that can fall asleep better in VR chat than they can in real life for some reason. So yeah, what is it actually like to sleep with a VR headset on you all night long? Extremely uncomfortable. It's a little bit brighter than what you're probably used to going to sleep as well. It's like having a nightlight, but the nightlight is strapped to your face and blaring at your closed eyes all night. It's, like I said, extremely uncomfortable. It hurts you, especially based on what head strap you have. There's a lot of negatives here. And for me personally, I can't recommend this. For me personally, I could not recommend sleeping in VR chat, even just for the experience of it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below and stuff like that. I would have definitely loved to just go to VR chat itself and try to find as many people as possible and ask them directly their experiences with everything like that. Maybe even have a full-on interview or something here at the end of this video. But this was not really possible. I couldn't really find anyone that actually slept in VR chat. Some people would just straight up ignore me, and all this other stuff. Then I just ultimately just ran out of time. So let me know if you want me to kind of conduct interviews with people like this or something like that, though, and I'll consider doing it for another video or something. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of all of this, what your takeaway is from this. And yeah, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all those things like that, because they very, very, very much help out the channel a ton, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. So yeah, do all those wonderful things, and remember, most importantly, to stay asleep.
I don't have a whole lot of time here before they find me. There's a few things that I have to let you know. The world must know, so I beg you to take this message and share it. There's some things that should never be done. I was meant to experiment with the mind in ways that should never ever be done. At first, it's unreasonable, of course, because I was lied to. I think everyone here has been lied to. Then things they changed. Okay, I noticed the lies, and I went looking. LegitCorp had this plan from the start. They knew what this thing could do. They knew this would happen. Now listen carefully, okay? Because I've created a way to stop everything. I can save everything. You have to be quicker than me, though. Find it before they find it first. You could find it under the rain and through the stone. I'd make it easier to find, but the Legend Corp cannot be allowed to find it first. Find it! Find it! Find it!
Ah, Mr. Lloyd.